Welcome, my dear students of class 9A and 9B to my history class. Today I am going to teach you the same topic, emergence of composite culture. Emergence of composite culture, chapter number 10. Chapter 10, emergence of composite culture. First point, Bhakti movement. Second point, the concept of the Bhakti. Third point, teachings of the saints. Fourth point, doctrines. Fifth point, philosophy of knowledge. First point, I am going to teach you the Bhakti movement. The Bhakti movement was a movement of the early medieval century. Saw the rise of this movement, Bhakti movement. That means the early medieval period saw the rise of Bhakti movement, saw the spread of the Bhakti movement. In which place? In South India first. And then it scattered in other places of India one by one. First in South India, then later spread to North India. The Bhakti movement was organized by a number of saints of different religions. Their knowledge, their education, their active participation in the field of religious growth and development paved the way of a new movement, the Bhakti movement. Bhakti, what is the meaning of Bhakti? Bhakti means devotion to God. This movement, spread the entire subcontinent. The Vedic faith, the Vedic knowledge, knowledge of Upanishad attracted millions of people towards the Bhakti, towards the program of Bhakti saints. Their teachings and preachings brought religious people to participate to their religious ceremonies, religious festivals and religious meetings. It was individual faith that the matter most, so the focus shifted from the complex. Rituals and priests were performed. Rituals and priests who performed them to the devotee or the bhakti. The preachings and teachings of Upanishad and Veda increased the knowledge of the people. They could hardly learn about the stories of Veda and the stories of Upanishad. But the Bhakti saints pressed it in an easiest form and simple language attracted the people to hear them attentively. In course of time, they all showed keen interest of the Bhakti movement. The Bhakti movement was led by a series of popular saints called Narayanas, Alvars. The Narayanas worshipped, Shiva, and Alvars worshipped Vishnu. By the 15th century, they were, popular in North India as well. The Bhakti movement and their saints preached the message of love through hymns. They were the actually followers of either of the Saguna. Saguna means believers of God with a form, or Nirguna. Nirguna means believers of a formless God. According to the Nirguna, there is God has no existence, but according to Saguna, God has existence. So the school of Bhakti philosophy also encouraged other saints who came forward to gain better knowledge. They were very, very popular with their masses because they preached in popular languages such as Tamil, Kannada, Telugu, Marathi, etc., etc. Their teachings and preachings were very simple. It attracted the people to hear them. Bhakti saints, drew inspiration from the Bhagavad Purana and Bhagavad Gita. The knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, people gain from them because they explained it in easiest form. They explained it in simple languages. As a result, they knew the concept, the content of Bhagavad Gita, the advices of Lord Krishna for Arjuna. They came to know from them. They came to know about the stories of Bhagavad Purana. It attracted the millions of people to be a part of this Bhakti movement. Now, what are the doctrines of the Bhakti movement? Bhakti movements had some doctrines. Number one, brotherhood. Number two, virtues of kindness, sympathy, purity of heart and mind. Gaining of knowledge means true knowledge from a guru or a teacher in order to attain salvation. Devotion in one God means monotheism, and equality irrespective of caste, creed and color. These are the important doctrines of the Bhakti movement. During the age of Bhakti movement, the famous Saint Shankaracharya played an important role. Shankaracharya not only encouraged people to be a part of the Bhakti movement, Shankaracharya actually started his career before that very age. But his role is important. Why? Because of knowledge and his philosophy. Whatever knowledge he gained, he explained it, and people gain knowledge from their philosophy. Shankaracharya praised the Advaita philosophy. He praised the Advaita philosophy. And he was one of the most prominent religious saints, religious teachers. During his time, means 8th century, during 8th century CE, his philosophy advocated that knowledge was necessary for worship. Without knowledge, no one can worship his or her deity, his or her deity and his or her, God and goddesses. That's why knowledge can lead a man to the correct way of life. A man can reach his goal only through gaining knowledge. That's why knowledge is very important factor in his philosophy of Advaita. Shankaracharya narrated it. Shankaracharya established a number of mosques in different cities of India. These were established at Badrinath, Dwarka, and Sringeri. A number of mosques were established by Shankaracharya. He did it with a view to attract the people towards the religious concept of Hinduism. He taught the concept of his religion with his own philosophy, and that philosophical explanation is known as Advaita philosophy. Since he was a most prominent teacher, saint, and revivalist, one of the most revivalists during his time in 8th century CE, he was compared to the Almighty God. That God, during that age, people considered him to be the Almighty God. That God has, according to them, God came out of the heaven to protect them from their danger, to save them, to pardon them from their all sins. That's why in the form of a man, God has appeared before him, they said. And it was Shankaracharya whose personality and body language, posture of sitting, posture of standing, posture of walking made him quite different man than that of others. That's why he established his identity strongly in the society by means of his good behavior, by means of his technique and method, by means of his preachings and teachings, and the knowledge whatever he gained, and the philosophy which was introduced by him during that very age. A great sensation came in the field of religion only because of Shankaracharya, the most prominent teacher during his age, during his time, up to this milestone.